Hello everybody, AlzaboHD here. Welcome to a new Europa Universalis 4 series. This series we're going to be playing as the Knights Hospitalier. This is going to be an Iron Man game where basically we are going to try to stave off the Saracens and take back the Holy Land of Jerusalem for the Catholics. And in so doing, form Jerusalem, the Kingdom of Jerusalem. And basically the goal of, or at least what I'm trying to do here, is to get King in Jerusalem, which is, of course, an achievement where you form the Kingdom of Jerusalem. And then afterwards, I'm going to try to expand eastward and establish Catholicism as, not the world religion, but definitely supplanting Islam in the Middle East, and driving back the Saracens and establishing kind of like a Catholic theocracy throughout the region. So basically, I know a lot of you guys have been watching, or perhaps maybe a few of you guys have been watching my Sweden Europa Universalis 4 King of the North series. I apologize, but this series has been going on for far too long. I had to end it. It's just, you know, it makes me sad that I wasn't able to upload all the episodes. But basically, this episode 1 for this Jerusalem, kind of King of Jerusalem Europa Universalis 4 Achievement Run series, is going to be a bit sped up, meaning that I have already actually gone to, I believe, the 1480s, with this particular series. Of course, this is all, I guess, already pre-recorded, so this episode's only going to last about 13 minutes long, but don't worry, there's going to be commentary, and I'm going to describe exactly what we are going to be doing. So, as you guys can see at the very beginning, the Knights Hospitalier is in a very precarious situation. We start off on the island of Rhodes. It's only one province, and the province is actually not even our religion. So basically, what are we going to be doing here to establish ourselves in the Middle East and kind of drive back the Mamluks and Ottoman power? Well, we're going to go ahead and get started with the first step that I used to establish, I guess, knight power in the region. So what we've done is we fabricated a claim on Byzantium, on the province of Achaia, which allows us to get a casus belli, which is basically a way for us to declare war on Byzantium. That gives us a pretext. And the bad news is that the Ottomans have already declared war on Byzantium, which will not actually allow us to achieve all of their territory, or rather take all their territory for ourselves. But again, this is not a perfect start, and I don't want to restart just when, you know, things are going against us here. This is going to be a game where there will be no save scumming, so this is all very, maybe if you play it yourself, this might be something that you can come to expect. The, I guess, principal war goal of our first war here against Byzantium and their vassal Athens is to take Byzantium for itself by either annexing the territory directly, or vassalizing Byzantium to feed back the cores from future wars against the Ottomans. Now, what I've decided to do is, with our army of about, I believe, 10 or 9,000 units, we've gone ahead and already kind of parked our men on Constantinople so that the Turks can't steal it from us. You know, we don't want the Turks to take Constantinople. That would be a game changer. It would force us to more than likely restart the attempt. So we're just going to park some men on Constantinople, 1,000 horsemen, and we're going to use our transport ships to take back all of the other men onto Athens so that we can take the city for ourselves. And once Athens is secure and we have annexed it, we can move back all of our men back to Constantinople. Now, this is going to be one of the more ambitious games for Europa Universalis 4 for one of my series. Again, Rhodes, our starting province, is not even our religion. Our religion is Catholic, and the province is actually Orthodox. So not only do we have to convert Rhodes, but we have to basically prevent the Ottomans from just outright annexing us from the very beginning. So this game, and rather this nation, is incredibly difficult to play as, probably one of the hardest starts in the game, even harder than Byzantium, who we've actually decided to just outright conquer in the beginning. Several things of note while we go ahead and play this footage of my war with Byzantium and Athens is that for you to have a, I guess, like a shot at doing this. That is to say, if you want to have the ability to establish this achievement for King of Jerusalem, it is imperative that you form alliances with either Venice, Hungary, or Poland. Now, because Venice starts the game by guaranteeing your independence, an alliance with Venice is not actually incredibly important, as they'll be dragged into any defensive war that is waged against you. What is important, however, is as soon as possible to increase your relations with the Papal State, Poland, and Hungary. Hopefully Poland taking a union with Lithuania. And if you're incredibly lucky, you'll be able to ally Poland, which will be a very, very great thing for you to use against the Ottoman Empire. Now, unfortunately, in our playthrough, I was only able to, at least in this episode, to ally Venice and Hungary, which is, you know, I guess they're not that bad to have, you know, in your pocket. But again, it would be much better for us to have Poland, and I was just not able to, unfortunately, ally them. So here we go. We've gone ahead and made a separate peace with Athens, taking Athens for ourselves. It's our second territory, which was very much needed. And here we go with my slow-mo over here. We've gone ahead and annexed, or rather vassalized the knights while taking 44 ducats from them. Usually this will be used to, or at least hopefully this will be used to basically pay back our loans. Now, what's going on over here? I've gone ahead and decided to skip ahead about 20 years just because nothing of note was going on. Of course, we're a tiny little nation surrounded by big, big fish and a very large ocean, so I was not able to actually make any opportunistic strikes in the Mediterranean. So I've decided instead to do a no casus belli war declaration against the Irish province of Ulster, or rather Leinster. My apologies for my Irish viewers. Now, why might I have done this? Well, what I want to do here is I want to vassalize Leinster as well, which will allow me to diplomatically annex them later on. Now, why might I do this? Well, I do want territory in Western Europe, so that this way it will allow me to form alliances later on with the big European powers. Now, normally, being Jerusalem, or rather, before I get ahead of myself, being the Knights Hospitalier, we are in the Eastern Mediterranean, almost in Asia itself. We are very, very far away from the major European powers of the medieval times, medieval ages, medieval era anyways. So a lot of people don't, or rather a lot of nations like France and England, the big powers of the West, don't want to ally us because we're too far away. We have those distance between borders, malices. So what I've opted to do is take over Leinster, and this will allow us again to establish kind of more diplomatic relations in the West, maybe allow us to grow out into Ireland, maybe even to England eventually, and it'll also give us the ability, if we so choose to colonize into the New World, considering the port of Leinster is incredibly close to North America and Canada. So now that we've gone ahead and already annexed Leinster, rather vassalized Leinster, we'll diplomatically annex it later, we've gone ahead and started to declare our first holy war in an effort to take both the island of Cyprus and some Mamelukian territory to start carving our way into the Saracen lands, the Muslim lands in the east, to form the Kingdom of Jerusalem. We have to bring Catholicism to everybody. You know, we will not stand for the infidel to control the holy city of Jerusalem. We need to take it for ourselves. Deus Vult. We need this territory. So I've gone ahead and decided to basically, by using my vassal, or rather my ally of Venice, who I've allied, basically my Venetian attack dog is coming to my aid here with our conquest of Cyprus. Now, interestingly enough, Cyprus was not actually allied with anybody else, which is incredibly fortuitous for us, for the Knights Hospitalier, and they were, I guess they had their independence proclaimed by the Mamluks, so this war is bringing in both Cyprus and the Mamluks. And now already, with this sped up footage, we can see that I have gone ahead and landed some troops into Cyprus, and very, very soon they will be taking over the island for themselves before we kind of launch our offensive into the Saracen homeland of the Mamluks. Now, before we go ahead and get any further here, I want to say two things. The first thing is that I have foolishly allowed the Mamluks to disembark onto our capital city, our capital of Rhodes. This was a huge mistake on my part, but it turns out, and this is the second thing I want to talk about, to be a huge benefit for us. Because due to the fact that half, or even greater than half of a share of the Mamlukian army is stuck on our island here, and because the Mamlukian navy is just all but destroyed and prevented from leaving due to the Venetian attack dog that I've unleashed on the lands with their, you know, huge navy of galleys. Basically, although they've captured our capital of Rhodes, as you guys can see, they're not able to leave our island of Rhodes, which means that the infidel army is basically monsooned in our capital. And although they are, you know, in our capital, looting and pillaging and raping our way across, you know, I guess the capital holding of our kingdom, we are able to, as you guys can see, launch a Christian invasion into the Holy Land of Jerusalem and its surrounding areas, driving out the Saracens and basically occupying all of this territory for the Christian Knights of the Hospitalier. So we are bringing the banner of Christianity together. Of course, we see the Venetians, who we don't really trust, but they are helping us because they believe that we are going to give them land at the end of this war. Well, that's a serious mistake on their part. I did promise them land, but they were going to receive absolutely nothing. And all of this land that we've conquered here will be, at least in the future, administrated by the Knights Hospitalier, our faction. Of course, the Knights themselves have risen from relative obscurity. We've captured Byzantium for ourselves, subjugated them as a vassal, taken Athens, and even started an invasion into Ireland. And this is just the latest of our shenanigans, of our conquests. We are basically conquering and annexing, or rather controlling, most of the territory of the Mamluks here. But of course, in the west, they have 13,000 troops. I don't want to get too close to that stack, but we're capturing as many provinces as possible before going into the peace deal. Unfortunately, as what usually happens, rebels have popped up, which are thwarting our, I guess, war score here by making our lives a bit more difficult. Our forces also, with the, I guess, help of the Venetians, need to throw back these peasants that have risen up in the infidel lands that are currently under our military occupation. So that being said, we are going to let Venice continue to siege Aslan, which is, I believe, the last major holding of the Mamlukian Caliphate, or Mamlukian, I guess, whatever you want to call this division, maybe an empire, whatever, Egypt, basically. But that being said, the Saracens have been basically held back. We've got all these nice little 4 provinces here that are going to be added directly into our patrimony. And we are going to begin to, of course, core them and convert them into the master religion, bringing them into the fold of the Catholic Church. Once again, a few hundred, well, wow, that's a bit generous for me to say, a bit of an understatement. A few hundred years after the last Holy War, we have brought another Holy War into the Muslim lands and established, once again, Catholic power in the Holy Lands of Jerusalem, which is fantastic. So, guys, we are about to end our first episode. As you guys can see, we've gone ahead zoomed in, or rather sped up again, once again. The year is in 1487, if my eyes are not deceiving, maybe 1497. I'm actually viewing a pretty low quality version of the video now to commentate on it. So again, I do apologize if I'm mistaken the date. But basically, as you guys can see, this is the situation right before Let's Play episode number 2, which will be in real time. It won't be sped up like this is. But do let me know if you guys do like a sped up and edited Let's Play series. Maybe this is a bit more interesting than the longer and kind of standard form Let's Play series that I normally do. So anyways, we are about to declare war on the Ottomans and bringing in both Hungary and Venice into the conflict. This will be the start of Let's Play episode number 2, the war with the Saracens. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for episode 2 of King of Jerusalem, Europa Universalis for Let's Play series. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.